Blue Jays.
Oh boy, I mean, and of course, anytime you bring up the Blue Jays, you think about that ridiculous offseason trend. Again, it's always been brought up. Miami, Dickey, settle. That's all you need to say. And I mean, I've been waiting for so long for this, and finally, it's here.
So is it official? Dickey starting?
He is starting.
He's in the starting rotation.
He is he's the opening day starter. It was announced last week, and like I said, this hype was so big. I mean, I know as a Jays fan myself, waiting, and that's finally here. Finally,
Yeah.
less than like I said, just over half an hour. I'm getting confused here.
No
Just
worries.
over half an hour, and it's. I mean, I can only imagine what it's like over there. I mean, like if you were to pull up a TV news station, they would probably have their cameras around the Rogers Center, around Blue Jays Way, and you can just imagine how packed it can be.
Absolutely.
It should be, oh my god. Again, the promising season that they have, hoping that they could make playoff bound, World Series bound maybe.
Yeah. Well, right now, even if you're not even at the game, you go down to the Air Canada Center, try and get a spot at the Real Sports Bar, forget about it.
Filled. Absolutely filled. I mean, I know the minute that we're finished here, I'm just going to hop on a subway and just run home as fast as I can. I know I'm going to miss first pitch, but
that's okay.
It's exactly. You always got the highlights on your phone.
One thing about baseball, you got to love the 9 innings, Good 3-4 hour sport.
Not only that, 162 games out there. There's 162 games, so you missed this one, you got 161 to go.
All right, well, here we go. Since you brought up all the trades and everything, right, with the Blue Jays, now, what do you think their season's going to be like? If you had to point like a number, like what do you think okay? Do you think they'll make the playoffs first? I'll ask you that.
I mean, I've been saying, I've been following them like closely since 2009, and since 2009, I mean, I've always said not make the playoffs, but last year I did say playoffs, and one of the reasons why I'm big saying playoffs, they had so much potential last year, and they had a decent rotation: Hutchison, Morrow, Romero, McGowan, and Cecil. Of course, almost all of them went down, if not all went down on injuries, except for one, Romero.
Yep.
Right, and even with that rotation, they were so promising. I mean, the only pitcher from the starting rotation last year is Brandon Morrow. 20 wins last year, did a hell of it. 12 wins. He still had a record over 500, and he has so much potential. He can pitch. He knows the strike zone, and he can do so well. And the fact now he's with Dickey, Johnson, Burley, and now J.A. Happ, which Romero got sent down to AAA, to Double A. Single A. He went down to Single A. The guy can pull up wins, right? And when you have such a rotation, like that's what they needed for so long. Is the pitching, right? There's always struggled. Romero struggled awful last year. He hasn't been himself since his All-Star season in 2011. Right, and now with the rotation we have, right, we already had the bats. We already had Bautista. Now we added Reyes. We added Cabrera. Regardless of the PEDs, the steroids.
And we added some speed. All those guys are pretty fast as well.
Yeah, exactly. We added Bonifacio. We added his steroids. They're all speeds and they're all quick on the field, right? With that, you can help up the great pitching that is provided from people like Dickey with that knuckleball. That's going to be so effective today. We can finally get to see how good that can be. And overall, in conclusion, they should make the playoffs. I mean, but okay. I did say I don't think World Series bound because, I mean, they're still getting to know each other, right? It's tough.
I'll agree with that.
I mean, it might be 162 games. I know it's like, they play every day, but, I mean, you still got to build up the confidence, right? I mean, even if they might have all this time together, there's still going to be some flaws. I mean, this is not a perfect team, and that's what people are getting so obsessed about.
Not at all.
I mean, there might be a big hype. There might be, oh my God, it's the Jays, but, nobody's perfect. We've clearly seen it.
Well, you know what it is? I just keep thinking back to the holiday days, right?
Yeah.
He was ranked the #1 pitcher for years upon years, but we had him, and then even when we finally traded him off to the Phillies. But although we had that star power and that #1 pitcher,
there was always something like
we were still not making the playoffs. And basically what was happening, very similar to the Leafs, but we'll get into that. That's a different story. But it's like your pitcher will be on fire, but then your batting is cold.
Exactly. I mean,
your batting's hot, and then now your pitcher is cold. It's like I keep thinking like, is this just going to be a trend? Is this what's going to happen?
Exactly.
Like with the Jays now, although we have all this firepower on the mound and even in like the outfield, I really hope not, and I don't think it's gonna. I'm an optimistic person, and I do think we will make the playoffs. But as in World Series, I don't think
it's too soon. I think it's gonna be too soon.
I'll say maybe in the next 5 years, once we start getting everybody together, we start gelling. Who knows? We might see the 92, 93
exactly.
Jays,
I mean, and I
come
think
out.
One example, 2007, they signed on Frank Thomas, the big power hitter from Chicago, coming over.
Yep.
Sure, he was a little bit older at the time, but he can still hit.
Absolutely.
Yet it didn't show that much. Holiday still did great, still potential for a Cy Young, and yet you still don't make the playoffs. And it happened again and again. And now we have Bautista. I feel like for once they finally put the pieces together. I mean, you bring back an old manager, John Gibbons, who ran the team from 2004 to 2008, right? And he got fired in 2008. We replaced our old coach, Cito Gasset. Now that he's back, he knows what he's dealing with, right? I mean, he finished with 500 when he was here, over 500 when he was here in 2006. One of the only few over 500 seasons. And now when you have such potential, he can run, he's good with the pitching. Yep. He knows how to work the rotation. He knows how to work his bullpen. And now that you got the bats to help on, there's something there. But World Series, I'm going to say within 5 years. Not this year. I mean, if it is this year, fantastic. I'll cry. But
the city will be burning.
Exactly. I mean, it'll be insane. I mean, but not yet. Well, playoffs probably. I don't know if it's a division win, maybe a wild card. Because, I mean, you still got other teams up there. You still got teams
we still have Boston. We still have New York. We still have Tampa.
New York is always...
Even Baltimore is still...
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, I think the teams you have to worry about the most is Tampa and Baltimore. Tampa still has their good pitching. They still have David Price. They still have some of their bats, right? And then Baltimore, even though they had a surprising season in 2012, they could still pull it off. They still got the pieces together.
Absolutely.
They're going to try to prove that they weren't a fluke last year. And I don't think they will. I don't think that they were a fluke. I think they could make it again. So those three teams... Baltimore, Tampa, and Toronto, you got to look at as well. New York and Boston, they're not going to be as impactful as they were back in the day. So I think this is a potential.
That's going to be good for us.
Exactly. I mean, with the other teams around the MLB itself, I mean, you had the Rangers in one area. I mean, Oakland is coming up and going. I mean, they surprised us all last year with a wild card berth. A division title. Sorry, they won the division on the last day against the Texas Rangers. There's so much more around. I mean. And of course, Detroit is another team that they want to look for a World Series revenge. They want to get back up there again. You have a Triple Crown winner. I mean, there's so much all around. It's not just the Jays, and that's what I think. I mean, playoff bound, but keep a lookout for who else is out there.
Yep.
You keep a lookout.
All that.